Yeah, what's up? It's Base Boxing Basement, and we back to boxing. I've rinsed the nonsense, the blood clots. So let's just talk boxing. So, this weekend, there's a couple of decent matches. Obviously, Chubby says many times, many times. I'll remember to like, because there are haters hovering around trying to disrespect the only decent, honest, reality speaking boxing channel on JTube. Anyway, so so the heavyweights always the kings. I say that again and again, and midgets and dwarves will say, "Oh, we're more skillful, we're faster with that." Well, step up to the kings, step up to the heavyweights, right? Boxing, like other sports that have weight divisions, wrestling, UFC, weightlifting, right? They only have weight divisions so that the little guys can perform. The reality is, if it's pure, like 100 meters run, right? You don't have, we're going to have an under 5 foot runners, 100 meter final, and the over 6'5", 100 meters final. And we'll have NBA basketball for those unders 5 foot tree. There was a 5 foot tree guy who's quite good. His name is Muggsy Bogues. But it's a very big rarity. If you're 7 foot, you can play in the NBA, and you can't. As long as you can walk without falling over your feet, you can play in the NBA. You just need to catch a few rebounds and dunk a little bit and block a couple of shots. It's not that difficult. You don't have to be that good. You spend the whole time right near, the rim, the basket, like Shaquille O'Neal. He was a big star, but yet he was just a huge lump. What was he? 7 foot, 7'2", enormous, physical. Just dunk on people. That doesn't take any skill. His free throw percentage was like 50% or something. He was, which is exceptionally poor. So with boxing, you've only got the heavyweight kings, right? If you boil it down. And, whatever people say, if the heavyweight division is rolling, then boxing's doing well. Why? Because people like to see ginormous giants. That's a tautology, but you know what I'm talking about. Big men slamming it out. You're more likely to win by knockout, therefore it's more conclusive. It can get sloppy at times. These big guys are huge. But when you see the big bang Gillet Jang walk in the ring, you're like, okay, well, I don't think I'd match him with Floyd Mayweather, would I? Why? Because you get ironed out in 30 seconds. Dave Allen would iron out. Dave Allen, the British heavyweight, would iron out Mayweather. Size is very important in boxing. And people go, oh, well, what about Valuev? He got beaten by Hay. I mean, that's a one-off. That's an outlier. And Valuev, unfortunately, for a huge guy, he could actually box quite well. But I've seen him box live, by the way. He was enormous, intimidating, but he just seemed to have no power. He obviously didn't do no PEDs. And the David A fight, Hay edged it, and yes, he did hurt the huge man. But, that's a rarity. The point is, Valuev wouldn't even be able to get close to David Gay, right? If he wasn't that big. He wouldn't, if he was like 220 pounds, but had exactly the same power, exactly the same chin, exactly the same boxing ability, he wouldn't have reached that. Size makes a difference. Foreman used to plow through these guys like Frazier. And he only outweighed him by like 15 pounds. He was like, 218 or something when he fought Joe Freemason, smoking Joe Freemason and ironed him out, And he was regarded as huge. And he was like, what? I don't know, I thought 218 when he fought for the title. When he came back, he got bigger, but in his prime, he was 220. People were like, he's a giant. Anyway, so what we have a very big heavyweight match this weekend, or at least, a decent level one. We have Arslanbek Makhmudov from Russia, now fighting out of Quebec, Canada. It's funny how all these Russians, especially the Muslim ones, like Beterbiev, Makhmudov, they like to move to Canada. It's part of the clergy thing, you know what I'm saying? No reality. Have a look at the recent Olympics. See how many Olympians, not just boxing, but from Western countries, were not of the origin or indigenous to the country they were represented. Why? Because mass immigration is a deliberate agenda by the elitist haters. But this is a boxing channel, so we ain't talking about no politics. So Arslanbek Makhmudov. Now everyone remembers he's a killer, you know. He was huge, he'd bash people up. He wasn't very skillful, but he was large. He's known as the Lion. He was very powerful. And but he had his first loss as a pro by Agit Kabayel, an underrated fighter. I think he's from, is he from Armenia originally, Agit? He fights out of Germany, of course, but he was born in Germany, but he's really like, I think Armenian or something like that. Kurdistan, maybe Kurdistan. You know, I don't get too obsessed with it. But anyway, so he fought Arslanbek Makhmudov in Saudi, in Riyadh, in the Kingdom Arena. And I put money on it. It was 9-1 on Cabela. And I said, look, I wouldn't say he's going to win for sure, but this price is crazy. Way too long. Of course, I collected. That's what you bet on. If you're a good better, you realise when the odds are wrong and you bet on the wrong odds. You don't bet on what you think will happen. You feel me? Anyway, Kabayel destroyed Makhmudov with body shots, with head shots. He's very underrated. We know that. We know that, Kabayel. And Kabayel has also gone on to knock out Frank Sanchez. Another fight that I bet on Kabayel. People need to listen to the Trippy if they want to make cash money. Believe that. So anyway, Makhmudov has come back. He's a Milimorov Kanin. He a decent record, 27-3, knocked him out in 2 rounds. I mean, you know, that was expected. Milian, you know, he's okay, but he's been stopped 3 times out of 4 now, including Makhmudov. But now they've put in Makhmudov against the gladiator, the Italian gladiator, Guido Vianello. And you know Guido is Tyson Fury, one of Tyson Fury's favourite fighters. Why? Well, I mean, it's quite creepy, to be honest. But why? Because he said he did a post and he goes, it's the body with Guido. He's got the body of a Greek god. He's tanned. He's good looking. And he's got a large Corey on him. Why is he so obsessed with Corys? Well, we know, right? There's no rhetorical questions on a Chubby channel, believe that. So he's basically just saying, you know, going on about Corys. He's pushing the Corey thing. You know, in the old days, right? Women never say, oh, my husband's got, well, she might do to her friends. They wouldn't go, oh, I want a husband with a large Corey. They would say, I want a nice husband who's handsome, who, you know, has got a good income and looks after me. They wouldn't go for a massive Corey. Otherwise, they'd all be sleeping with donkeys or mules. Or elephants, if they really had the width. If they really had a wide on, they might go for the elephant. But, yeah, so... Guido, interesting pro career. He's got 12 wins with 10 by way of stoppage. 2 losses. One was to Jonathan Rice, but they get a cut eye. So that's a cut eye. He was leading firmly on points. So you can kind of ignore that. Efe Jagba, who's a prospect. So that was a split decision. Many people thought it went Vianello's way. So, you know, it is what it is. I hate that phrase, but it is what it is. He also got a draw against Kingsley Ibe, who's gone on to do okay, and he's a puncher. But, you know, they've matched Guido against some fairly decent fighters, you know, at a fairly decent level. It's been a bit slow. It's been a bit slow for him. But what you got here is a fighter. Now, he seems to have decent power. 10 KOs and 12 wins is pretty good. In the amateurs, and I'm only going on Box Rec, right? Because Box Rec, you feel me, doesn't count every amateur fight. You know, the Box Rec Pro and records are extremely good. But the amateurs, it's a little bit harder to find, you know, the results correctly. But so according to Boxer, he had 29 wins, 0 KOs, which is a bit weird, 0 stoppages, 25 losses with 2 stoppages. So he's almost at 50-50, right? So you might think, well, that's not that great. That's not that great. On the other hand, you always need to look, you need to look deeper, especially when it comes to data. You need to look deeper, as Pastor Dr. Martin said. And if you look at Guido's amateur career, okay, He's fought some well-known names, and he's fought at a very high level. You remember the WBSS, the World Boxing Super Series? You know, when they had the top amateurs fight over 5 rounds, he fought in that. Let me give you some names. As a junior, he lost to Huey Fury on points. Zan Kosobuski. He's got stopped by a guy called Magomed Omarov at TKO 3. But Guido, that was, I think he was 19 at the time. Omarov was a very experienced fighter. I couldn't find footage of this. I found footage of their rematch when Omarov won a split decision, and I thought Guido won. And Guido was, at the time, slightly crude, but tough. He lost to Fraser Clark in the EU. He beat Cam F. Awesome, the American prospect. He's also actually fought, this is where it goes most important, Aslan Makhmudov in the World Boxing Series. But he got injured. He got stopped. So Makhmudov has stopped him in 4 rounds. But that was an injury. Okay? So there's not really any doubt about his chin. He's beaten Max Babanin. Babanin, I think. Oh, man. These amateur careers are hard to get back. But Babanin, I think, stopped. He beats Fraser Crop. He beat the big Gug, Solomon Dakers. Neville Tiafak. I think he stopped Joe Joyce. Right? He beat Rich. So this guy, Maxim Babanin's a good fighter. He's just, too old now, unfortunately. He's short, he's stocky. But what I mean, so he's been fighting at the top level. So yeah, he might have 29 wins and 25 losses, but his losses are generally to good men. He lost to Mihai Nistor, Lenier Pero, Fraser Clark in the WBSS. We're talking about the top level guys. He beat Mihai Nistor in 5 rounds in the WBSS. Now, one of the problems is that Italy's not that big on boxing. They've always had some decent boxers as amateurs. Roberto Camarelli, what's his name? Tomasino, I can't remember. But they've always had some good amateurs, but generally they look after their amateurs. So a lot of them will just stay amateur. They also had guys like Francesco Damiani, who beat Teofilo Stevenson. They've always had good heavyweights. But they're not that interested in boxing, especially not pro boxing. Obviously, there was in the 50s, there was loads of good Italian-American boxers. Jay LaMotta, Rocky Graziano, Rocky Marciano. His real name is Rocco Marchegiano. Yeah? So Guido should not be underestimated. He's fought at the top level for the majority of his career. That's over 10 years. He's 30 now. He's Italian. He's 6'6". Makhmudov, is 6'5.5" allegedly, so he's about the same height. He tends to weigh in slightly higher. He might have 20 pounds weight on him, which is big. And he can punch hard. So the question is, does the Corey King, does Tyson Fury's favourite Corey, swinging large Corey heavyweight, beat Makhmudov? Makhmudov's fighting in more or less his hometown, his adopted country. But Guido's fought abroad. Guido's now based out of the United States, Vegas. I wouldn't write Guido out. I would not write Guido out. It's a 10-rounder. Okay? It's a 10-rounder. Obviously, the most important thing is for Guido to get through the early rounds. The early rounds when Makhmudov is so dangerous. But I think his chin is solid. I haven't seen him over. He may have been, but I haven't seen him over. Makhmudov looks very, very basic. Of course, he can hit very hard. He's very strong, but he's 35. He got humiliated by Agit Caballero, and that's not being disrespectful. But Agit took him to school, even though he was given away. Over 20 pounds. He battered him and stopped him, put him down 3 times. So Makhmudov has to be and he was also stopped as an amateur, Makhmudov. So Makhmudov is also going to be thinking, I might not be the destructor. In fact, Makhmudov got stopped by Magomed Omarov, who Guido also fought. He's also lost to Junior Farr. Oh, Clemente Russo. He lost in 5 rounds. Decision. Who's also one of the great Italian, top level fighters. He's also been stopped by a guy called Denis Sergeyev. I don't know nothing about Denis. Denis only went amateur, but the point is, right? And you had to be good to get to the top if you're Russian, or and Kazakh or Uzbek, maybe Ukrainian even, because these guys are like, they got a factory of good fighters, of heavies especially now, because obviously like nutrition's got better in Russia. There was one point when a lot of the world countries didn't have the money or the means of production to give good food, but things are different now. So people are healthier, they're bigger. And I think Guido has a chance. He's 3-1. 3-1. Just to win. 3-1. I don't know. I might put a 5 on. It's a 10-rounder. My only worry is Guido is I don't know, man. I don't think he's that hard a hitter, even though he's had 10 KOs and 12 wins. And I sometimes I worry whether he's a bit too easy to hit and not busy enough. But if he does the right thing, right, Guido, the huge, large Corey Guido. I mean, his Corey alone probably weighs 20 pounds. He could probably make cruiserweight without the Corey, if Tyson Fury is to be believed. And this is not a Corey channel, but, unfortunately, Corey's been a major talking point in heavyweight boxing since Tyson Fury became king. Okay? So, but yeah, look, I always say, I repeat this again and again till I'm blue in the face. If you really want to know who you think will win, think, if I had to bet my life on it, what I'd go for. It's tough. It's tough. It's very tough. I'm not sure. I think it's a 50-50 fight. So in which case, right, the Guido, if he can avoid the early violence, right, and he can box, he's boxed at a high level, if he can get past the early violence, he may be able to win on points. I don't think he may not hit quite hard enough to stop Makhmudov, because despite the beating Caballero gave him, his chin has never seemed super suspect. But, he after 4 rounds, he might blow out a bit, He didn't look good against Carlos Takam. So, 3-1, is it worth a small Corey bet? Yeah, probably. I might put just a 5 on. I don't have no money no more. Hopefully I will get back to be... Hopefully at one stage in my life, you get me, I'll get back to being liquid. I've been a millionaire 2.5 times. I say 2.5 because one time I wasn't quite sure if I could be considered a millionaire. But now I'm a pauper. I don't give a shit, man. Life's the same. I breathe the same air blood. I'm still a bad man. So yeah, it's an interesting fight. I'm gonna risk a Corey King victory. At 3-1, right? At 3-1. So, if you want to look for serious value, 8-1. Guido Vianello on points, or 3-1. Guido just for the win. The real value is 8-1 Guido Vianello points. Let's see if the Corey King can do it. As I said, it's a 50-50 fight. In my opinion, you might get Guido getting bowled out early on because Makhmudov can bang and he's violent, but he's not very accurate and he's crude and he's got a stupid look in his face. He doesn't look like a human. He looks like some beast. A Bigfoot. He looks like a human Bigfoot. I think there's probably some Nephilim stuff in him. But yeah, peace in the Middle East, guys. I love all me fans, no homo.